This morning, we're going to take a look at an ancient treatment being used to combat modern medical problems in kids. Acupuncture has been around in China for at least 4,000 years. In this country, it's still relatively new, but it's growing in popularity. And according to the National Institutes of Health, more than 3 million adults visit the acupuncturist every year. But how about kids? How about children? Here's ABC's David Wright.
Little Ashley looks like any other 14-month-old baby, active, happy, healthy. But until quite recently, she was fighting one infection after another, struggling with asthma and allergies.
She's been on medication since she was 2 weeks old. I wasn't comfortable with all the medications because she was so young, and I felt like there has to be another alternative.
So even though Ashley's mom has never had acupuncture herself, she brought her daughter in for treatment.
Hello.
At the Whole Person Health Clinic in Stoughton, Massachusetts, licensed acupuncturist Faye Contje-Gibbs now treats Ashley regularly.
She's not so sure of all this.
With a combination of natural oils, tiny needles, and tuning forks.
You want to point to one of these that you want to be treated with today? The rake. You always go for the rake. Uh-oh.
We watched as she gently prodded and poked Ashley for half an hour.
You're not actually breaking the skin?
No, not on babies.
Ashley's mom says the baby is finally sleeping through the night. She's convinced these treatments have helped.
You have to kind of believe in it and then wait for the concrete, outcomes.
Acupuncture is more of a medical art than a science, based on the idea that energy flows through the body through a series of known pressure points. Doctors at Massachusetts General Hospital recently used high-tech magnetic resonance imaging to study the brain's response during acupuncture.
What'd you find?
A very interesting pattern.
The blue areas are the parts of the brain activated by acupuncture, a pattern similar to a brain at rest. In other words, the brain's response to pain seems to be switched off.
Is this scientific proof that acupuncture actually works?
I wouldn't quite say we're there yet. There's much more to be done.
Children's Hospital in Minneapolis runs the nation's largest and oldest pediatric acupuncture center.
We see a lot of children with migraine headaches, anxiety, and depression. Acupuncture doesn't work on everybody, just like medicines don't work on everybody.
15-year-old Brooke was suicidal when her parents first brought her to the clinic.
Stimulate her healing and her balancing her nervous system.
Almost immediately, they noticed an improvement.
I feel a ton better, and it was my last resort after all the other options.
It's like having my daughter back, which is really exciting. She was there, but physically, but not emotionally or mentally the same person.
While acupuncture may not be right for every child, for a growing number of parents, this ancient Chinese medicine has become a lifeline. For Good Morning America, David Wright, ABC News, Boston.
And joining us now is Dr. Woodson Merrill, someone who hopes to bridge the gap between Eastern and Western approaches to medicine. He's the chairman of integrated medicine at Beth Israel Medical Center here in New York. Good morning to you.
Welcome. Thank you.
You know a thing or two about acupuncture. I guess first off, as a mom, I'm wondering how young is too young? Is there an age where you would start acupuncture for certain things?
A kid needs to be cooperative, so certainly once they hit grammar school age where they understand why they're doing it, it's a lot easier. Using an infant, it's going to be trickier. They have to be able to sit still fairly well, so it depends on the infant.
And are the benefits not as clear for a younger?
No, the benefits can be as clear. It's just a matter of being able to practically
do it without them screaming.
Yes.
Well, all right, so to that point, I am not a big needles person. I don't like having blood drawn, but I'm going to let you, just for the sake of TV, show me how it feels to get one of these needles in your arm.
Let me show you
I've never done this before.
two of the acupuncture sizes we have here. One of which is very small, and the other is kind of for the larger muscles in the body. I'm going to take a very small pin and just place it in your arm.
It's not going to hurt, right?
You'll see. It's very tiny, very tiny point. We use a guide often to put this into the skin so we can find the point directly.
Okay.
And I sterilize the skin, and I'm just going to give a little poke.
Oh, that didn't hurt.
And that's it.
Oh, look at that.
Usually you don't feel it. The acupuncture needle,
I don't know if you can see it, but
the acupuncture needle is so small and so thin, you usually don't even feel it going through the skin.
No, I didn't feel that at all. Okay, so what kinds...
I'll take it out now.
Please. What kinds of ailments would you use this for in children specifically?
Well, you can use it for any pain syndrome. It's wonderful for helping to reduce pain, for any kind of musculoskeletal problem, aches and strains, and for what we call functional disorders, allergies, asthma, headaches, irritable bowel syndrome can be very helpful.
Would it be your first go-to treatment or something you try if other things don't work?
Well, the older a child is and the more they're able to understand why they're doing it, the better it is to do it sooner rather than to have to rely on pharmaceuticals, because we're very successful at, particularly, for example, in allergies and asthma, where children end up on so many medications, actually in using acupuncture along with diet modification to reduce or even eliminate the need for medications.
And that's such a great thing to be able to not have to have them take medication every day.
Absolutely. It should be thought of earlier rather than later. When all else fails is usually when it's thought of. It should be thought of earlier on as part of the armamentarium for treating a whole host of medical problems.
So you see it increasing as we
dramatically.
move on?
Yes, by exponentially increasing, to the point now where it's been almost a decade since the NIH and the FDA actually recognized that acupuncture is effective. So it really should be part of mainstream medicine that all physicians and parents should think about as an option.
Or at least part of the dialogue with your doctor.
Yes.
Dr. Woodson-Merrill, thank you so much. Very interesting.